Welcome to Little Talks, your weekly dose of marketing news, trends, and insights from Littlefield Agency. Grab your coffee, turn up the volume, and let's get into it.
Welcome back to another edition of Little Talks with Littlefield Agency. I am Sam Littlefield. With me is my partner, Roop. And with us is our very, very, very special guest, Mike. Mike, welcome back to the podcast.
It's great to be here, guys.
Oh, dude, it's good to have you. It has been almost a year.
It has been.
It has been a year. Oh, hey, there we go, Brando.
A year.
All right.
Also, quick editor's note. Claudia's off.
Claudia's off.
And we have the OG Brandon producing the podcast today.
Brandon, where's your camera, brother?
No camera, yeah.
Can't even get a verbal from him.
It's him.
For those of you that have never seen or met Brandon, he is actually a human.
Yeah.
It's not an AI agent.
He's real.
Brandon is here, and he's been here for almost a decade. So, Brandon, it's great to have you back on the pod. It's been a while. Speaking of, where is Claude? Where is Chelsea? They're not in the office. We have no idea. By the way, it's 5 o'clock. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. And we don't know where the girls are. So here we are working.
Obviously.
And if you listened into last week's podcast, it is Mike's vacation week.
I was just going to say, when you're on lake time, it's 5 o'clock all the time.
That's a good rule of thumb. And your koozie says that, right? The best koozie. Mike sent me a koozie pic from the lake. But yeah, Mike is a nice enough guy to come down here to Tulsa. Brought your lovely bride, Chelsea. Yes. So excited to see her.
She had a great time last year. I was looking forward to this year.
Yeah, so this is our second annual. Just turned into a great day. We do work during this day, which is great. Have a nice lunch, podcast here. I know you guys have some agenda items here for the rest of the day. And then we go and have a lovely dinner downtown, and we're off into your head back up north tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yep.
How was the lake? Was it a good time?
Oh, it was great.
Yeah.
It was hot. It's the lake in late August or late July.
Late July.
But yeah, no, it was fun. We had a great time. Had some friends out with us, so it's always fun to share the water with others.
Totally. And kiddos, good time.
Kids were great.
Good.
They're getting older to where they can actually enjoy actually being out, as opposed to
something to that. There's something to that.
Yeah.
Roop really knows that because you were.
My kids are gone. Yeah, they're out.
Well, we've been looking forward to this day. I told Roop yesterday, I can't believe it's here. Like, I feel like we talk about this for months and we plan it. I mean, we've had this plan for 4 months, 5 months,
something like that.
Yeah.
Actually, we were planning it last year, but
we were planning it last year. Yeah, exactly. Everything came together. So we've got a really, really good podcast for you today. If you look at, if you're watching the video, I've got a couple of notes. If you look at Roop's, he's got no notes. You look at Mike, he wrote paragraphs. He's prepared. He's ready to go. Roop, get it together.
Yeah.
But we've got one topic with 4 segments. Brandon, let's hit it, brother. Here is the marketing topic of the day, of the week, marketing gut checks. What is still true in 2025? What? I like the gut check point of this. Yeah. I like the idea. We're gonna look back a little bit. And here's the thing: is Mike and I were talking about this just before camera started rolling. 5 years ago was the pandemic. I mean, that doesn't seem
right. Yeah, it seems like a lifetime ago. Actually.
Seems like a lifetime ago. And with how much changes in your role and our roles and just life in the last 5 years, right? It's crazy. So what we want to do is we're gonna talk about, in the world of digital marketing, what has not changed. What have you, Mike, outgrown in your role in the sense of a marketer? Give us a taste and a day in the life of how you're using AI in your day-to-day, and we're going to talk through some predictions. So we're going to start off with what has not changed, not only in the last 5 years, but Mike, what's something that'll probably never change in this business, in a business that is always changing? You like what I did there?
I didn't think about that for a second.
I know you like philosophy, okay?
That was kind of profound, yeah.
I'd love to hear you.
Right out of the gate. Okay. No, you had a couple of like starter things, but this top one, which you all can't see, but I can see here, is the enduring importance of knowing your customer. Absolutely. Like, if you don't know who you're talking to, you're just talking to the air. Totally. And you're missing out on actually delivering a message to the person who wants, needs, should see what you're trying to put out there. My two examples of this are Bud Light and Jaguar.
Okay.
So
lay it on us, brother.
So Bud Light did the influencer thing with Dylan Mulvaney, which then turned into a backlash.
Into literally loss of market share.
Loss of market.
Yeah.
I mean, they were giving Bud Light away. Bud Light was literally cheaper than water at the stores.
I know because I saw people buying it to destroy it.
Yeah, well, there was that,
What a
which
time.
is crazy, but they absolutely alienated their customer base with that move, and then they fired their marketing person, or she left or did something or whatever. But they did a whole shakeup, and then not but a few months later, you start seeing ads with Shane Gillis and Bud Light, and so they're like back to where they really should have been to begin with.
And Posty, baby.
Right, and Post Malone, right. Which I was thinking about that ad campaign with Shane Gillis, and he's like in the wrong ad. And then the guy that's supposed to be
So
in the
good.
ad is in the bar where Shane is supposed to be. I was like, that is absolutely perfect because
Marketing genius.
that is exactly what Bud Light did. They put themselves in the wrong spot with relation to their audience and their target consumer. And but then they did the right thing, and they circled back
dialed it
around
back.
and got back to where they should have been. Jaguar apparently has not done that. They went,
Dude,
they
off the deep
released
end.
some weird ad, which fine. I mean, creativity wise, it might win an award or something like that. But I read that sales of Jaguars in Europe over the last quarter are down 97%.
Holy smokes.
Didn't they
I think
change
they
their
only
logo too or
sold
something?
like 3 cars or
Dude,
something
wow.
like that.
That's exactly what. So they changed it. It was a rebrand.
Yeah.
And they tried to
Yeah.
re-identify themselves. Oh my God. First off, I'm all for winning awards.
Sure.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
And that creative agency obviously had that in mind. I also don't know if they were tripping ecstasy when they concepted
I have no
on
idea,
that.
but that
and,
was-
and if you haven't seen
it's-
this ad,
it's unreal.
Definitely, it is insane.
I mean,
And that I did not know that stat. So that verifies it.
I read that on the internet. Somebody should check it. But it's been floated around in some
Saw it on his TikTok feed.
press, some media, some industry media that I would probably take it to the bank, or at least it's going to be pretty accurate.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, and what I like about the Bud Light example, and this is literally prevalent as of a week ago, Sean Hubbard from Ditch Witch was here, went out, had a Bud Light, and he goes, it's nice to be ordering a Bud Light again because a couple of years ago, I'd be ordering said beer.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
full customer journey, man, came back. It's a great example
Yeah.
of knowing your customer. And talk to us too. We live in this chaotic, insane. I remember when I first got out of college, the stat was you're inundated with 5,000 marketing brand impressions a day, right? Like and I feel like I don't even know what the stat is anymore. But as you all, as a B2B brand, you're selling to commercial and to government and to consumer. How are you from a messaging standpoint? You're still in front of your target audience, but you still have to emotionally relate in a ever more crowded space than we've ever been in.
Yeah. I mean, yes, great observation. I mean, you have to break through that clutter in some way, shape, or form. And, some people try to do that with just gimmicks or, catchy whatevers. I liked what you guys were talking about. What was it? Just this, was it the past podcast where you're talking about audio and
Yep,
having
the last one.
like that was something that I hadn't really ever considered, honestly.
It's interesting.
And
Roop, you genius.
I mean, really, you think about, okay, what's your brand standards guide for print or for digital or, logo positioning and or whatever, what's your voice? And you think about voice in terms of, reading it on
tone
a
and-
screen
Yeah,
or reading it
totally.
on a page, but you don't, some people don't think about the actual voice that you hear either on a podcast or on a jingle or, just someone who your on hold message when you call in, that kind of thing. So you've got to have a consistency there. And, in some ways that can breed some kind of contempt because it gets real familiarity breeds contempt.
Oh, absolutely.
But, as long as you do those things consistently, people learn to expect what they're going to get from you. And as long as you don't do anything like Bud Light or Jaguar to mess it up, then they'll continue to stay with you, even if your message has been the same and will be the same because your product really hasn't changed or your target really hasn't changed. That's fine. You don't have to have something brand new, every year to reach your customer base with, the right product at the right time.
Which I think it's I have an aside, but I'll come back to it later. It's a good tie-in with, you're talking about brand consistency here, right? And you guys do a really, really good job of that. And no BS, you do.
Yeah.
You've stayed on it. Then there's all these trends that pop up. Look at the last 5 years. Look how much has changed. We weren't talking about AI 5 years ago, and here we are. And I don't want to specifically talk about AI because we're going to in a little bit, but I mean, Mike, look at your email inbox, right? All these different vendors, partners, et cetera, that are reaching out. Hey, have you considered this? Have you done that? Hey, what about this? I mean, we get 1 million of them a week.
Yeah.
So how do you stay focused in the sense of, man, there's a lot of, again, noise, chaos, all these potential trends, some shiny, some cool, some may work out, in the sense of you're still got to drive brand. That's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of what I do with my inbox, it's just
unsubscribe.
Yeah. Or
Preach to the choir here, brother.
But yeah, it can be challenging, and that's, I mean, in a way, that's what our task is as marketers, is to find a way to, when your email is one of those emails of 10, 20, 50, literally overnight, well, one of the things that we've started doing more consistently with the email strategy is using emojis and using, trying to A/B test on subject lines and bullet copy versus paragraph copy, how to just kind of mix it up a little bit, see what's working, different timing, different time of day,
Time of the week,
those kinds of things, which actually that test kind of didn't net any real results.
They're not all winners.
Yeah.
They're not all winners.
But we say ABT, always be testing, right?
Yeah.
It's good to have that, and you might find something, you may not, but again, you're consistent. It's a good thing.
But in terms of trends, this is are we moving on to the?
No, we're
the
still.
second one?
You can stay on trends. Do you want to stay on trends?
Well, no,
he wants to
you
go
wanna
number
move
two.
on?
It's
No,
great.
okay, we can.
Did you have a thought?
I was just going to say, when it comes to trends, I think so many of them come and go. You don't, if you're a brand, you don't need to feel obligated to jump on every single one of them.
No.
Some of them are going to align with you and your voice and who you are, and some of them are not, and that's okay. You don't need to feel the pressure of, this happened at the Super Bowl, and now what was our response to it? No one cares what your response was. Like, if it matches and goes with it, good. If not, let it sail on by.
Great point.
Exactly.
It's a very, very good point.
Yep.
Okay, transitioning to number 2. What have you personally ditched or outgrown in the last 5 years?
Yeah. So we were talking beforehand that I think the main one that I would say that's been in the last several years would be like QR codes on anything and everything, everywhere. For any purpose whatsoever. Like, if it's brand awareness or if it's just, hey, get more information, I don't want a QR code for that.
Which is so interesting, because we were also talking about, okay, hey, like on menus, I told Mike beforehand, I'm okay with it. And he was like, no, I'm not. It's just totally fine.
That's a personal thing.
It's a personal thing.
But if you're putting like a print ad, you're flipping through a magazine, that's not the time to try to, well, it kind of is the time to grab my attention, but I don't know that at that point in time I'm going to dig out my phone and scan. Let's figure that out. Do that whole.
In that realm, I think the only way that I would is like, hey, enter for a chance to win a free something, a drawing or something,
or some sort of giveaway, or something that's quick and easy. It's not something where you go and you land on the homepage of a website.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that is a miss.
Bad. That's a big miss.
That was everything that happened with QR codes when they first started. And now I think that you can
That's a good point.
when you can channel them to, like, okay, you're doing a giveaway, or there's a very short form, or maybe it's at purchase or post purchase, like that stuff makes sense.
Yes.
You're registering,
you can line the experience up with what they expect.
Yeah.
Exactly. As opposed to, hey, just learn more. Like, I'll just look you up. Your website's right there. You just gave me your URL.
The homepage
Why do I need to
examples.
scan it?
That's gold, baby.
Have you guys ever
That's
been
bad.
sitting on the couch watching a streaming service and you get the ad comes up, the QR code pops up there? Have you ever actually scanned one there?
Nope.
The only one that I did was the Super Bowl commercial, and remember,
Because the floating QR code,
genius.
Yeah, that was
That's
actually
the
genius.
only time that I've ever scanned a QR code.
I always see it sitting there.
That was really good.
The thing about the QR code on TV that I think is a little different.
It was the only thing on the screen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There was no
And
branding.
there was no music.
No.
There was no copy. That was it.
You
were forced to
you
do,
were
if you
bored
wanted
into
to,
doing it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my point on the TV one. Like I'm sitting there and I see a little timer in the corner. I got 2 minutes of ads. I'm already looking at my phone. All right, let me see what's going on here. Sometimes I will scan those.
The thing is, back to the QR code in the Super Bowl, whoever thought of that, they deserve an award.
Yeah.
They crashed their website. They got so much traffic.
Yeah. So they didn't have the wherewithal to hang out. That was a genius concept.
Genius concept, and the ad was great, but the execution on the back end, they just didn't have the server power to.
Didn't believe in it in the same way that.
Yeah.
So you bring up print.
Yeah, print. Some people, like people my age, younger.
And you're not old.
I'm not, no. But the impetus or the gut check or the gut reaction would be, print. Whatever. I think that print is relevant and highly relevant, but in focused, channeled, like spurts. It's not
part of your monthly media mix.
Be all.
Yeah.
It's not the only place that you can place advertising because, let's face it, magazine subscriptions and newspaper subscriptions and all that stuff are dwindling. You're not getting as much readership in the actual magazine or the printed product itself. But especially for niche targets or niche audiences, like, for example, I have chickens in my backyard and they didn't just randomly appear. I
They're not wild.
Purchased them and raised them.
That's a good
eggs.
clarifying point. Thank you.
And now we have ducks. They also came on purpose. But I subscribe to a magazine that's about just what's called acreage life, and we don't have acreage necessarily. Yeah. We really don't. We live in the city. But there's relevant content, and there are relevant advertisements around that aspect of what's going on in my life that I appreciate seeing it there, and I'll read the content. And sometimes, like there was a feeder or a brooder that caught my attention that I was like, oh yeah, that's interesting, and so then I look it up and everything. The other thing is, we were just at the lake. We're boaters, and so I subscribe to Boating Magazine, and I read that cover to cover every single issue. And there have been a number of products that have been advertised in that magazine that have caught my attention. I've looked at. They haven't been for me, just because they didn't fit my exact boat, but
you're engaging with it. Yeah.
Right.
And that's
so I think there's a space for it and there's a place for it, but it can't be the only place that you're placing your
totally agree
messaging.
It's my old school nature. I'm a sucker for a magazine because, to your point, there's just not many out there these days. Mm-hmm. And I think about it too, right? Like, you guys have a bunch of shows coming up. Mm-hmm. Are you going to be advertising in a print publication for every show? Probably not. But every once in a while throughout the year, there's probably a great show that's worth putting some. Yeah. Print is not dead. We actually had a whole article on this years ago. A lot has changed. And I mean, I remember when I first came to the agency almost a decade ago, a lot of our clients were 50-50 print and digital.
Yeah.
And digital obviously has changed, but I appreciate that insight because...
I mean, digital should be probably the majority of your makeup anymore.
Of course, right? 90%, 95%, but
there's still a place for print in the right spot or the right publication that's reaching the right audience.
Is there a technology for 2021, 4 years ago, that you were using that you're no longer using? Or are you still doing your thing?
No, I think...
If the answer is no, that's fine.
No, I think everything that we were using then we're still using now. Maybe that mix has shifted slightly. Yeah. But I can't think of anything that has gone away or that we've moved away from.
But you were heavily...
No.
Yeah, okay, good.
If anything, the thing, HubSpot, we're leveraging it even more now than we were then, so those kinds of things, I don't know. I don't have something that we've completely and absolutely ditched.
Fair enough.
Ask again in a year.
I think it's a worthy question. So AI, it's a big topic. You listen in. Mike is a loyal listener. He listens in every week. Thank you very much, by the way. And we talk about it all the time. I'm in a CEO network group. We talk about it. We have our Paris conference coming up here in a month and a half. Guess what? The agenda is AI.
Did you just city drop?
Jeez. No, I did not. But I guess I kind of look like a now.
I just hadn't occurred to me. Like, oh yeah, he's going to Paris, not Texas.
Not Paris, Texas.
It's actually Paris, Texas.
Oh, it is?
I got no sign. But anyway, how are you using AI in your daily life?
So,
And I'm talking on the work front.
yeah, on the work front. Okay. I use it in a real kind of rudimentary way. I'm not doing anything really whiz bang with it. Like you hear about all the crazy cool examples. Most of my stuff's pretty innocuous. I've written something and I want to get it 10% better or something like that. I want to put, I want to wrap it up a little bit tighter, or I've got 500 words and I really want it to be 400, and my self-editing skills are terrible because I really like that line,
I get it.
And the AI or ChatGPT will, refocus or change it just slightly and be like, oh, that's actually pretty good. And then you can always slide that back in if you really want it.
Of course.
So I've done that. That's been helpful. Also, I used to Google if I was having trouble with a formula or something in Sheets, and now
that is a game changer.
I plug it into ChatGPT, and
that was never my strong suit.
It will give me the formula instead of having to go and find a website that might be trying to sell you something like their service or whatever, and they won't come out and tell you what the formula is.
I'm just looking for a good
They'll
VLOOKUP,
tell you the
baby.
steps to build it, which I get. Okay, you're learning how to do it, but I don't really need to learn how to do this. I just want to copy and paste.
Yeah.
And ChatGPT will give that to you.
Mike's just keeping it real right now.
Yeah,
That's true.
we
appreciate that.
But that's a lot of what it is. I mean, it's just basic stuff like that.
Would you say
research too?
Great,
I've done some
perfect.
research. Hey, I want to do a deep analysis of, say, what a competitor's doing. It's not going to be able to find everything because there's some secret sauce back behind whatever they're doing. But maybe you can get a little bit closer to kind of what their angle or what their mix is, or how they're doing something, and it'll give you suggestions on how you can capitalize on stuff that maybe you can do in that same vein.
Would you say that it has created a decent amount of efficiencies in your day and week, or is it not there yet?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, it's not really changed. It hasn't changed my life. Let's put it that way. I mean, a lot of the things that I've been doing, I'm still doing. I've found ways to automate within, like say in HubSpot, that's a lot of what I'm working on day to day. A lot of those automations are built into HubSpot itself. Some of that's powered by AI, I know, but I'm using their workflows or their sequences or their other things that, I did just recently. I've got a follow-up sequence. It's just a series of emails, and it's over about a 3-week stretch of time. I've got 4 emails, so they're spaced a week apart each. And so I took the entire sequence, all the body text, subject lines, and everything, and I plugged it into ChatGPT. I said, "Hey, I am getting about a 20% response rate, which I know is excellent for that type of follow-up. But I want to get more. I want to get a little bit more. And I don't know, maybe it's stale. I haven't really touched these templates for a couple years. So I plugged it in there. I said, hey, give me something that I can maybe do differently or whatever. And basically it came back and said, hey, you're awesome. Basically.
Thank you for the reminder.
Thank you. But it did give me a few pointers of, okay, your timing is good, but maybe shorten the time between message 1 and message 2. Maybe after the 4th one, you could send a 5th for those non-engagers. Maybe they're just busy, and you can hit them a month later after that and just kind of re-engage. Just real short thing. And then there were a couple of CTA adjustments, some A/B testing that it suggested a little bit of wording change here or there, so it didn't upend my entire process. It was a good confirmation that what I'm doing is working, but it gave me some improvements that I wouldn't have necessarily thought of on my own without doing a week's worth of research.
And you took all this out of HubSpot into ChatGPT. Have you ever tried to use the HubSpot AI, the Breeze?
No.
Yeah, it's not very good.
Well, I think you told me that,
Yeah.
so I did. So I stayed away from it.
Just not there yet.
Which I'll be interested because Roop is going to inbound in a month.
Yeah, we'll have
I will
some
be interested
updates
to
there.
see
Hopefully, I was gonna point out, if you haven't tried it yet, I think it's a pro account, which is what we have here. There is a HubSpot connector from ChatGPT to HubSpot directly.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
It is hit or miss so far, but I have every reason to believe it'll get better. But I think it's interesting that like there's all these different AI, which I segue by the way, all these AI things that were platforms and services out there, and everybody wants to come up with their own version, but we're all it's starting to kind of gear towards a couple that the masses are really using and rely on. Even when there's something present right there built for the service, I do the same thing, ChatGPT.
Right. So I was having this is not related to marketing. So sorry, I just thought of this. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine who is getting ready to go to law school. And he was talking about how, just like what you were saying, they've got ChatGPT, but for lawyers. So it's like, it's all, the case law and the torts and all the other stuff that they have to consider. That's their kind of library of information that it's drawing upon. And he said it's interesting that it's good that kind of AI is good at giving you a mediocre argument, which sometimes you want if you want to fast track something, you're just doing an agreement or you just want to do it needs to be quick in and out. But for the like new or for a novel or compelling argument, you don't want to just take what it gives you because it's not going to.
Didn't a guy try that early on and got disbarred?
There's a lot of stories like that, and there was one. There was a conference a couple of years ago. Right, that is obviously meant for law, but it was two legal. I don't know what their titles were, associates, and no, I'm sorry, they were in law school. They present a brief, and the law teacher was like, "This isn't even." The cases that you're referencing, I don't know, what do you call them, Mike?
The case law, yeah.
Case law, thank you. Completely made up. Like, this is not real.
Yeah.
And you're like, do your freaking due diligence. Sure, it's changed a lot now. But again, super crazy, scary thing.
Well, that yes. But my more focal point on that was it'll get you far enough. It won't take you all the way. If you're trying to do something interesting, you're trying to create a new compelling ad campaign or something like to bring it back to marketing, you could ask ChatGPT for some suggestions or some recommendation or what might be working in the space, but it's not going to create the campaign for you. You can't just take what it spits at you and then say, okay, run with it now. You've got to do some human work with it.
We used it today for our content outline, right?
Yeah.
For next year. And we dropped analytics and SEO and competitor review and holes in our own and all this stuff. We got a pretty good list back, but we still wanted to go through it line by line, topic by topic. That makes sense. That doesn't. Let's tweak that.
Yeah, exactly.
So like it did a lot of the heavy lifting.
Yes.
But it allowed us to spend a little more thoughtful time, I think, going through it.
On a personal level, I've used it for when I've taught some classes. And so I know the content, but I just want an outline.
Yeah,
okay, I give it. I've
make it easy on me.
I've learned how to be very specific in my prompt of what I want, what I don't want, what kind of and so it'll give me an outline. And for the most part, 95% of it's good.
It's good, yeah,
and it's nicely structured and everything like that. And then there are a few, because I know the content, I know that that's actually wrong, so I can change that.
Perfect.
But that doesn't negate the fact that I know the content. I'm just asking for it to give me an outline. That's my scaffolding, and now I can paint around that, or I can build around that.
Bingo. So I've got a weird question for you.
Okay.
Do you, and if you don't, that's fine, do you have any expectations of us as your agency partner and how we're using AI? In the sense of, I mean, just inner workings. You guys just gave a great example of content outline. But like, what's your expectation, if any, of the agency?
And as the director of AI here, just know this will probably show up on my performance review, whatever you're about to say.
Ooh, there we go. For those of you not watching, he's twirling that wonderful mustache.
Yes and no. I mean, I guess my expectation would be, I know you're going to use it.
Yep.
We're all using it. It's out there. It's going to happen. I guess from that perspective, I don't really care how you get to the best design, the best copy. I blanked on the word for a second. The best wireframe, the best content outline. I don't care. Just that. All I care about is that we're moving the ball forward.
Yes.
And whether that was a real human that came up with that idea on their own, or whether that was AI assisting in building the scaffolding that they threw the stucco on.
And I do
don't
love
care.
that. The scaffolding analogy is very interesting. And I think you hit the nail on the head because that's exactly, I mean, everyone's using it. We're tapping into it. To Roop's point earlier, are we saying, voila, there's your campaign? No. So much human thinking going into it. But you're in no way like...
Because that goes back to knowing your audience. Your audience is made up of humans, not AI bots.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
AI doesn't care about emotion. It doesn't care about the human proclivity for, instantaneous, unthoughtful, just intuitive type reactions or gut, whatever. That's why they have end caps at the supermarket, or that's why they have the candy and the gum at the checkout line.
Yeah, impulse.
That kind of thing, those impulse buys. AI doesn't care about any of that.
Well, and I think to humans, especially in the last 6 months, we've got a pretty good eye for AI right now. Eye for AI. Roop earlier at lunch showed us something. He was like, I swear to you, this is an AI. Sure as heck looked like it. And he was like, no, this is real news. At least that's what we think.
It was from ABC News. I think it's fine. Yeah. I hope they've edited it.
But anyway,
it might have been written by
it
AI.
is. I feel like it's very palpable when you can see. And there's some. We had a huge conversation last week. Liquid Death, the person that doesn't even work at Liquid Death, produced that really impressive AI commercial.
Yeah.
Was it perfect? No. Was it thought provoking? Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's just the world that we live in. Okay, good. No, that's helpful to hear. Okay, as we transition into my favorite, can't help myself here, predictions. Predictions that you'd stake your budget on. Woo-hoo. That was quite hefty there.
It's not my budget.
But looking ahead, what do you think? 3 years from now, what's still true? Is it going back to what hasn't changed? Just looking at all of what you do, Mike. What's still happening? What's going on in 2028?
So it kind of circles back to what we talked about at the beginning. You got to know your customer. I mean, that is number one. And if you don't know who your customer is, you're going to create
trouble.
messaging that's off. You're not going to get the hits, the impressions, the clicks, the leads that you need. But in that vein, you not only need to know who the right person is, but you need to have the right message. So obviously, if you know who the customer is, you can craft a message around that. But you need to reach them in the right place at the right time. So you need to be where they are. The majority of our purchasers are not on TikTok, so we're not going to spend a lot of time on there. We'll spend some, but we're not going to spend a lot of time on there. So if we put all of our budget into TikTok, it would be a failure because that's not where our audience is. So right person, right place, right time, that will never change.
Well, and on that note, one thing that I thought of just now is something that I would say the next 3 years that will be interesting, especially as Gen Z and millennials just take up more and more buying power. Gen Zs, are they quite the decision makers then? Getting close, millennials for sure. The customer journey in the sense of, I feel like that is, and we've talked about this before, right? Like my wife, she goes to all of her social feeds to do her research and then ends up on said website purchasing said whatever. And I do think about that, right? Like, and TikTok, by the way, you guys you're present on TikTok.
We are.
I absolutely, obviously follow that. Is what does that buying cycle and customer journey look like 3 years from now? Has it shifted a little bit? Yeah, I think so. But to your point, right, still have to have that clear, concise, emotionally relevant message.
Right.
Yeah.
I think if I had to put someone's budget on this in 3 years, the thing that I think is the safest bet is that about 30 to 40% of your online interactions will not take place on your website or your social channels. They'll take place in AI. There'll be some search response. The need for people to leave the AI environment and go to a website to get information is going to be lesser and lesser. That doesn't mean your website's less important. It's actually vitally important to give the right data to those AI tools. But I think that's going to be a huge shift. It's going to be really tough for people. When they see the web traffic going down, you're like, oh, what are we doing wrong? Something's off. Some things are outside your control, and I think this is one. So how you prepare for AI becoming larger and larger in search and larger in content discovery, I think that's going to be a huge shift.
Yeah.
And we're already seeing it happen.
Yeah, it's already on its way,
Well, and to feed the AI search or environment that you're talking about, your messaging is still, like you said, the website is still vitally important, and you're going to have content on there that isn't catchy. It's compelling.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
it's not gimmicky. It's
very nice.
Just straightforward. This is what we have to offer. This is why it matters. This is what it can do for you. That's the thing. You have to provide a simple solution to a vexing problem.
Yes.
Like the person that's buying your product is not buying it just because they saw it and they're like, well, some people might do that, but nobody's going to go out and buy
not the majority
$20,000 lawnmower
for
just
sure.
for the hell of it.
Yeah.
They're going to buy it because it solves a problem, and it needs to solve a specific problem. It's like robot vacuum cleaners. I would have never thought that we would buy one, but then we have a lab, and there's dog hair.
Dog hair everywhere, baby. Yep.
And we have a lot of hardwood floors, so it's like, it's perfect. It does its thing in the middle of the night, and then I don't have to think about it, and I don't have to push the vacuum all the way around, or my wife doesn't. So that solved a problem. That was really a problem. I don't know. Depends on what you define as a problem.
Made your life easier.
But it makes your life easier, or it frees up your time, or your energy, or whatever. You have to. But no one's going to buy your product if it doesn't solve a problem in one way or another.
I 100% agree. I wrote this down. Catchy, not compelling. Mm-hmm. That is so. You have to compel.
No.
Sorry.
Compelling,
not catchy. That's probably the perfect way to sum up this podcast, because what have we been talking about lately? Of course, you got to have great product, you got to have great service, etc. But this up and coming generation, the world that we're living in, want to have a relationship and an authenticity with these brands that they're doing business with.
That goes back to you talked about Gen Z as being the up and coming, buying power that's going to eventually shift. Well, it'll shift to us millennials first, and then it'll go to Gen Z. But
it's good to be a millennial.
But it's yeah, right on. Come on.
That's fine.
Gen Xer over there. Come on. But to back to what you were talking with Andrew and Trent a couple of weeks ago, like he was that entire outlook or that entire interaction with digital or social, and I think you guys talked a little bit about celebrity endorsements and that kind of thing. Yep. That was another thing I wrote down is like, man, that's kind of passé anymore. I mean, you want real people in real circumstances doing real things with a real, in a very real way. That's what people who want to buy your product want to see. They don't know that they need it until they see someone else doing something.
There you go.
They're like, oh, that'll do.
Compelling, not catchy. Compelling, not catchy. I love it. I love it. Okay, this is great. Brandon, we good? We're feeling good? Can I get a...
He did a thumbs up.
Okay, that's good. As always, it was great having you here in Tulsa.
It's wonderful to be here.
We appreciate your insights. You are our client. You are a friend of the agency. Mike asked on his way back up from lunch earlier. He was like, "Hey, are we a fun client?" I was like, "Absolutely, absolutely." We wouldn't do this if it wasn't a great, morning, lunch, aftening, evening, and this is the second annual.
Yeah, no, this is fun.
It's a good time. I love that Chelsea's down here, and we're going on almost a decade of a partnership, and those are few and far between. And so we thank you for putting up with Roop and Chelsea every day.
Well, we thank you for putting up with us.
Mostly Chelsea.
By the way, she just peeked around the corner. I saw her little head.
I saw her out of the corner of my eye.
She's like, let's go. Oh my
contact.
gosh, hey, golly, I'm not trying to be rushed here. So, Mike, cheers to you, my friend. Cheers to a great night ahead. And to our listeners, thank you very much. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Adios.
And that's a wrap. We hope you found a spark of inspiration for your marketing strategy. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us at Littlefield Agency to keep the conversation going. Catch you next time.